We play a wide variety of music from around the world and also from Basanda, from other where, whens, and we're very glad that you're here with us tonight. The first piece that we heard was a piece of French wedding music, a wedding processional, which translates loosely as "if we go together," which seems to be a nice thing to say at a wedding. And then we just followed that just now with a set of tunes from really kind of our heroes. We hope someday to grow up to be as cool as the wonderful English drum-based wall of sound band called Blowzabella. And we're going to continue straight on now with another piece of music from England. This is a song called Captain Ward, which is a traditional song which we have from a wonderful British folk trio called Faustus, who are now sadly no longer playing because we lost the man who sang this song, Paul Sartin, at an entirely too young age, and we miss him really badly. So we'll send this out to you, Paul. This is called Captain Ward. These are a type of tune that come from it's actually west central France, from the province, the Département of Bretagne. It's a type of dance called an Hanter Dros, which just means a type of dance in three. So this is a set of Hanter Dros, and I think probably we learned these first from the first VMC guest artist we brought here back in 2001, who was a wonderful fiddle player of Irish and French styles named Heather Gilmer, with whom we're still in touch. And I think we got these tunes from her. I just know we've been playing them for well over 2 decades, so there it is.
There's a lot of people. 4 for nothing. organicity to what we do. And that means that
There are seasons. There are seasons for planting, and there are seasons for brewing, and there's seasons for joining, and there's seasons for leaving. And one of the things you know if you get on an academic schedule is that you do get every spring to a season for leaving, which is always a little bittersweet, I guess I would say. This is actually something, this next piece is a waltz, actually. I think it's Finnish originally, sorry, I did a little bit of internet research. But it's arranged by a friend and mentor of several of our string players. And the string players brought it to us and asked if they could play it, and I said, certainly, why not? So it's a lovely piece called Elina's Waltz. social dance, which is danced all over France in many permutations with lots of different kinds of footwork. It's basically a line dance where you dance opposite a partner, and as our VMC dance specialist Anne Martin taught us, it's very improvisational. You're supposed to kind of play games with the person dancing opposite you and change up your pattern and pay attention to one another and really engage and connect, right? This is a tune, gosh, I hope she's listening. Joe, I hope you're up this late. This is a tune by our great friend, the saxophonist, singer, and tinsel player Joe Freya, also from Blowzabella, who gave us permission to play this remarkable tune that she wrote. It's a tune which was played all over the world by Balfour musicians, French musicians, English musicians, all over the world. It's a wonderful tune called De Montfort. So Joe, this one goes out to you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very, very much indeed. So this next tune is it's an original tune from a band led by a remarkable piper and fiddle player and singer called Catherine Tickell. Some of our pipers in the audience will surely know Catherine Tickell's music. It's based in its title and also its rhythms are based in the rhythms of a Northern English style of hard shoe dancing called clogging, Lancashire clogging. If you know, like Kentucky and West Tennessee clogging, that's the descendants of this Northern English Lancashire clogging, and it has the interesting title it's called Clogstravaganza, and it is indeed a rather extravagant exposition of what's possible in clogging. So we're going to feature our wonderful soft shoe and hard shoe dancer Maggie on this from Catherine Tickell and the band called The Darkening. This is Clogstravaganza. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't also say it rather features the string section. us some Euro bagpipe music, I gotta say. This is another one. This is a tune also from a member of Blowzabella, who I think is probably not listening because he lives in Belgium and it's an hour earlier there, an hour later there, I guess. The great Paul James. This is a tune, it's a dance type called a rant, R-A-N-T, not like someone on the television yelling about something to make people feel bad, but it's a type of dance step called a rant. And this one is called Falco, and it features our wonderful interpretive dancer in dance, Captain Comrade Katie. So please give it up for Katie. Katie is kind of superhuman, so we're not worried about whether they can do it. We know that they can. This is another song. Actually, I don't know. I think this songwriter might be the darkest and the best songwriter of the last 60 years. The great Richard Thompson, who I swear to God, I went to sleep and woke up with Richard Thompson's music for about 30 years. But this is a rock and roll song. It's a straight up rock and roll song, and it's called For Shame of Doing Wrong. called the Melrose Quartet, which is kind of an English folk supergroup. Nancy Kerr and James Fagan are joined by another fiddle player and accordion player. They're fantastic. They sing magnificently, but they also write these beautiful tunes. And so this is a medley of 3 tunes, which we have from Nancy Kerr. The third one is called a gallopine, and there's some folks in this audience who will know what a gallopine is and how it's danced. But for this particular piece, we were able to go to another one of our Basanda brethren and sister, the wonderful choreographer and body percussive dancer, Kris Olson, who some of you will know, she teaches in the dance department. And we went to Kris quite some time ago and said, well, the strings have this string feature, this medley of tunes concluding with this tune called Barseback. Would you like to try to set something on it? Because it's always nice to bring in other ideas, people bringing music in, or bringing ideas in, or bringing movement ideas in from outside. So this is the string players, and this is Kris Olson and the dancers really making something really remarkable out of this set of tunes from the Melrose Quartet called the Barseback Medley. All of you all remember that pandemic? That pandemic was heartbreaking for so many people. It was so hard on so many systems and so many communities. But it was also especially hard on us dancers, because we couldn't touch one another. And that was the heartbreaker. So we're going to finish up with one more line dance. This is a very simple Breton dance in 2 called Anto. And this is another one of those set of tunes. I think Dr. Roger Landis and I have known these tunes since before we remembered them. We kind of always knew these tunes. It's a set of unnamed Antros. And another thing that some of you may know if you've been to hear this band in the older days, in the elder times, is that we always like on the last piece of the evening, which this is the last piece of the evening, we always like to invite the audience to come and dance with us. So if you would like to come down and dance this Antro, it could not be simpler. There's Katie leading the way. Yay for Katie. So if you'd like to come down and dance, you must join on at this end. Must join on at this end of the line. Do not join on not with small Katie. Join on with tall Katie. Yes. It's very easy, friends. We all have the benefit of modern science. So, this is a set of unnamed Antros. If you're gonna dance, you gotta get down here. I'm gonna start the band. It's kind of like taking the brake off a wagon rolling downhill. It's just gonna start rolling and then keep going. So we're very grateful to all of you for being here. It's still time to come down and join this line. It's the last piece of the evening. I do want to draw your attention to the fact that next month, the first Saturday in May, we will be playing at the Luca Firehouse. And we'll be doing a bit of a pop-up on the first Friday the night before, the 2nd of May. So there's more to come. We have a concert tomorrow evening in this very hall by the Historical Performance Ensemble, joined by the great Robert Wimkin, our guest artist, who came out to our show tonight. Very much thank you for that, Brother Wimkin. We have a VMC concert tomorrow night. We have the Caprock English Bagpipe Consort, who were featured at the beginning of the show, coming up at the beginning of April. We're delighted that you're here. We're delighted that we can be back together. And please feel free to come down and dance with us on this Andro.